Hello everyone, and today we're going to be rating your dashboards once again. A few weeks ago I had you guys submit your dashboards and there were so many submissions from that video and you guys actually really seemed to enjoy that video that we couldn't not make another episode of it. So basically we've got a bunch of dashboards here that were submitted by you, the viewer, and we're going to take a look at them, give you my feedback, give you a critique, and I'll give you a rating on what I think of your dashboard. Now, reminder once again that this is just my opinion. I am not a UI expert or a user experience master or anything like that. It's just my opinion. You may agree with it, you may disagree, and that is totally okay. If you want to submit your dashboard for a future video, maybe we'll do more episodes. If you want to see more episodes, make sure to leave a comment down below and tell me that you want to see more episodes of this. But if you want to submit your dashboards, I'll leave the email address that you can submit pictures and a description for future videos. But let's go ahead and jump in and have a look at the first dashboard. So this one is from Albert and he submitted this dashboard, which is a floor plan and a tablet-based dashboard. So you can see it's more suited for a tablet view or maybe even a desktop. It would also be suitable for, and you can see it's also got the floor plan in the middle, so it makes heavy use of the sort of 3D floor plan design, which I do like and I do appreciate seeing. A lot of work goes into those dashboards, so yeah, I can really appreciate them. And he said that he watched a video that I did previously where I looked at a bunch of dashboards in the community, tablet dashboards specifically, and there was a dashboard in that video from Luke Vink, who Albert saw, and he really liked that dashboard, so he set out to create his own one based on that video and that dashboard by Luke, and this is what he's come up with, but he has kind of put his own twist on it. So I do actually really like the color scheme, kind of got a little bit of color going to it, but it's still overall a darker theme and it's not in your face bright like a white is. So yeah, really like the color scheme. And off on the left hand side, he's got his navigation over here. At the top, he's got the controls for the view that he's looking at. And then in the middle, he's got his big room plan view. So the 3D view of the floors in his house, which is super cool. I do like these dashboards. But yeah, he's put his own little twist on these in sort of subtle ways. These controls up at the top weren't in Luke's dashboard, I don't believe, so this is an addition by him, and I do like that. It's cool to just have kind of like 4 or 5 quick toggles up at the top that you can easily access. The floor plan lights up according to which lights he has on, and you can also see that the color changes according to the color of the bulb, which is a really nice addition. The lights are nice and subtle on the dashboard. They're not in your face like a couple of others that we looked at previously, which I do think is really nice. On the next page over, or the next view down, he's got his vacuum controls. And I like these because it's got touch targets for each. If you want to do like a spot cleaning in a certain room, you can just touch the room and the robot will actually go over and start cleaning those rooms, which is actually really cool to see. And that's kind of where the floor plan really comes into its own when you have that type of thing. These are the main controls, the lights, and he's got his vacuum. And then on the next page over, he has light controls. So quick toggle of all of the lights. Not sure if that is really needed. Maybe he has some additional lights that are not shown on the floor plan. And then on the final page, he has his energy usage using that built-in energy dashboard in Home Assistant, which is super cool. This is really clean. I do like that. I appreciate that. These controls, once again, at the top coming into their own. So really nice quick toggles for certain devices in your house. Yeah, I really like this one. Yeah, this is one of my favorite tablet dashboards I've seen. It's super clean, really well designed, not overpowering with different lights and too many controls. Just everything you need probably from a wall dashboard and nothing you don't. Nice, clean, minimalist design with a little bit of color. Yeah, really well done. I'm gonna give you a 9.5 out of 10. Where's my mouse? One moment, please, I need a mouse. This next one is from Carlos, who has a mushroom inspired design, which we are definitely seeing a lot of. I didn't appreciate how many mushroom designs there were out there, sort of using the video I did, but I guess that design has been around for a long time. So yeah, a lot of mushroom inspired designs, which is cool. and just shows kind of the power of the mushroom cards, which are super simple to use and offer a lot of functionalities. He's kind of put his own little twist on the classic design. Up at the top, he's got this big title, and he's also got his chips, which are pretty cool. And then I do like these little pictures for each family member, the little animated pictures. And you've also got the status up in the corners. That's cool. And then he's also separated his controls by room. So he's got main controls for the rooms up here. It looks like if you tap into the little title card, that will take you into the actual room itself where the main controls are. A really clean design, not too much to complain about here. The only thing I will say is I don't understand why this space above the title is so large. This title could be moved up to like here, and it would like half the space. And then that will bring up some of the controls so they're more in view and you don't have to scroll, but that is a really minor complaint. I'm gonna give this a 9 out of 10. Okay, so next up we have a tablet dashboard from Matthijs. So this one is another dark mode, and you can tell that there is some different UI elements going on from different projects. I do like the chips up at the top. So he's got his status chips, so he's got the weather, alarm, disarmed, heating, as well as drive times up at the top. So there's some different UI elements going on from different projects. It looks like this is either mushroom cards or maybe it's the new tile card up at the top. And then you've got some button cards. So there's kind of like a mishmash. It's a little bit chaotic for me personally. There's like kind of stuff everywhere. Again, that's just personal preference. I do like how you've got buttons for everything, so you can control just about everything from this dashboard, especially when it comes to lights. You've got pretty much, looks like all of your lights on here, which is generally the thing you want to control with tablets. I'm not a big fan of this slider. It kind of like reminds me of something from the 90s, but then you've got a different slider up here. I'd like to see those be consistent with each other. And then the other thing is the UI elements aren't always consistent. So you can see that the buttons here have got a different rounding radius to the buttons over here. So I'd like to see kind of everything be consistent with each other. At least that would go a long way into just making everything a little bit more or flow a little bit more. Just little things like that they could be doing with tidying up. This looks like his sort of alarm panel, and I do like this because he's got kind of all of his sensors on the left and the right sort of surrounding it, and then he's got his main keypad in the middle. So it's kind of like all of your sensors and then keypad in the middle to quickly see what's going on. That is very useful for an alarm panel, so really nice job there. I like that one. I'm gonna give this a 7.5 out of 10. Okay, next one up we have is from Bram, and this is a mushroom design once again. Really clean. It's again a dark mode design. There's definitely a lot of dark mode designs when it comes to dashboards, so which I definitely appreciate. You can see that he's got his, up at the top, he's got a big sort of image of him and his wife at their wedding. Presumably that is a really nice thing. So whenever you open up your phone, you're gonna get a nice little memory. And you can also see that they've got their status. So that's kind of an actual cool little image. So he's kind of cut the image of both of them in half and then used each side of it to add their status as well as their battery. That's pretty cool. And then below that, he's got his 6 sort of navigation buttons. And then he's also got a room-based layout, but you can see that he's grouping, I presume this is Dutch, but I'm presuming that this is for ground floor, first floor, and then maybe like attic or something like that, and then outside. He's using these big sort of image cards for his rooms and then taking photos of his rooms, which is really cool. And he's also got, presumably these are like scene buttons on the rooms. So you can just tap and have the scene change depending on the room, so you don't have to actually go into it. I am curious as to what this little skull icon means on the living room. And then if you click on the room, it's going to take you into the room view. And again, he's got that nice big image with all of his quick toggles. Yeah, and then basically he's got his room controls for the lights and the blinds. And yeah, really nice design actually. So yeah, this is a nice little take on the classic mushroom dashboard. He's added his own little twist with the icons and the pictures. And yeah, just really tweaked it to his needs. It's overall really clean, obviously being dark mode, which I appreciate. And he's got all of his controls. We also love to see the names of people's robot vacuums. They're always really good. So he's got an Alfred. Nice. Really nice dashboard. I'm gonna give this a solid 8.5 out of 10. Okay, so this next one is from Ibraheem. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that properly. And this is another mobile dark mode dashboard. So up at the top, he has the next train times available, which I could see being really useful if you were out and about and you wanted to know, or you were just leaving your house and you wanted to know when the next train was available. That's actually a really cool little addition. And then below that, he has his weather. So I presume he quite often leaves and gets on the train and he wants to know that sort of information regarding the train, which is a really cool little touch. Over on the next page, he has his media controls, and it looks like he can toggle between all of his different media players down here and then control what is actually being played on them. And then he's got these nice little colorful little buttons up at the top. A little bit further down, he has his light controls. This is the only thing that really stands out to me, is these light controls. I get that he wants to make them sort of raised so you can see that they're buttons, and this is the depressed one, but it kind of looks a little bit out of place when the button is clicked. These icons look off to me in comparison to some of the others. That's the only minor nitpick I would pick up on there. So yeah, this is a well done dashboard. Again, there's just little things like this being in capitals, but the office isn't, and then this is in capitals. And then some of these icons definitely need centering. So it's just tiny little tweaks that need to be made, and this could make the overall dashboard really improved. I'm gonna give this a 7.5 out of 10. Okay, next we have Daniel. So we have a little GIF here. Oh. What on earth is this? Okay, this is an incredibly unique design. I've never seen anything quite like this before. This is by one of our Discord members, Daniel, who is very helpful on Discord. Thank you. This is his dashboard that he had submitted. And basically he has removed all the pages from his dashboards apart from these 3 pages that are on tabs up at the top. Let's take a look at the first one over here. What I think is happening here is essentially he's laid everything out into a grid. On the left hand side, I believe these are his rooms of his house, and then the top column is sort of the devices and sensors that he has an overview of. Lamps, or maybe a group of lights, on the left hand side, and then the main light or some other main control in the middle, or the second column. And then he's got his media players, fans, and yeah, this is this is quite intense. I believe that this GIF is an 8-hour time lapse of what happened in his house over an 8-hour period. So it's not like all of these things are flashing at you all at once. But yeah, it's still pretty intense. So the middle column has where all of his sensors are. So again, you'll see on the left hand column is his rooms, and then at the top is all of his sensors. So he has the motion sensor, door sensor, windows, temperature, humidity, and light level for each of his rooms. And you can see that those tiles are changing as motion is detected here, and then as different humidities and temperatures are changing and moving around, as well as his doors. Yeah, this is, I can't say I've ever seen any dashboard quite like this before. It's incredibly chaotic, at least for me, but I know that Daniel says that this makes perfect sense in his head, which is the main thing and is all that matters. And he says that it's completely logical and very fast for him to use. So maybe it's something that you get used to get used to using. So yeah, this is super cool, and yeah, props for creating something that I've never seen done by anybody else before. If you look at this light, what is this? This is all of his Zigbee devices, it looks like. So at the top he has which room it is, and then below that is just all of the devices for each room. So it's basically a organization by room, I guess, of devices. This is like, my mind is just overstimulated right now with this. The only thing I will say is it kind of, these gaps where some devices are in some rooms but not others, so like there's little gaps here on these rooms and gaps here, that kind of drives my OCD nuts, where I want everything to be filled in and not have these gaps. So I'm going to give a 7.6 out of 10. Again, too chaotic for me, but I can certainly appreciate the ingenuity and the uniqueness of this dashboard, and if it works for you, then that is the main thing. This next one is from Francesco, who has prepared an entire presentation for me to look at. That is nice. The rest of you got to step up your game. This is an extremely clean and also familiar design. So again, based on Mushroom, which is definitely no bad thing. Again, dark mode for mobile. And they have made a few nice little tweaks to the overall layout. So on their home screen, you can see that they've got their navigation as well as their welcome message. I do like this little alert sort of banner up at the top. So if they have an alert for weather or maybe other things, then it does show an alert up at the top in yellow with the exclamation mark. Exclamation mark. Exclamation mark. So that is a nice way to just like grab your attention if you need to be notified of anything. And then they've also got their room layout as well as their navigation up here, and everything is really nicely aligned. And then they've got their people, and then down at the bottom is this really nice addition actually to the overall layout. So what this does is it basically shows the last 6 events for the house, so that you can basically quickly and easily see what is going on. That is actually a really handy little addition. I do like that. And then they've got their familiar room-based layout. So you click into the room and then you get the controls for that room. The only thing I've got to pick on here is that I think this graph stands out. I think this would be better changed to an apex chart that will fit in a lot nicer with the rest of the design that you've got going on. The stock graph kind of really stands out and doesn't fit in with the rest of the UI elements, again, for me personally. And then the only other nitpick I've got is that these buttons over here throw it off for me, because there's only one button on the left and then you've got 2 on the right, and it kind of throws off the alignment because it's not all really minor nitpick, but it's just something that jumps out to me immediately. So I'd love to see this balanced out, or maybe have 2 buttons over here to kind of even things out. That's a very tiny nitpick. Also in his room, another thing I do like is that he's got his automations listed for that room, so that you can toggle the automations that are active in a room and toggle them on and off so that you can quickly deactivate them if need be. That is a really cool touch. I think I will actually add that to our dashboard. But other than that, really nice looking dashboard, and I can tell you've put a lot of time into this. Great job, 8.5 out of 10. This dashboard is from Iain, and again, this is a tablet dashboard or a desktop dashboard, and is again using the mushroom cards. Again, I like the color scheme. It's kind of dark, but it does have a little bit of color to it to kind of liven it up. Over on the left hand side, he's got a really nice, clean and simple sidebar, which I do like. I like how it doesn't take up too much room, and it's just got nice, simple touch targets. Super clean that. And then in the kind of next to that, it's got the main house information, so who's home, time, date, weather, and then he's got his tram time. So usually when you have a wall tablet, they tend to be near kind of the front door or the door to the house, so that you can glance at them when you leave or use the controls when you come in for alarm purposes. So having the tram information on there is probably really useful for, like, if you're leaving to go to work for the day, you can glance at it and see when the next tram is. So like 4 minutes, 9 minutes, that type of thing. That's pretty cool. And then on the next to that, he has a calendar, and then he also has his meal plans. I wonder how he does that. Does he say? Yeah, so he's gave us a really nice description of how everything works. By the way, if you're going to submit your dashboards, please give me lots of information, as much information as you can on how you did things. That is always useful, as well as many detailed screenshots and even screen captures if you would like. So yeah, he's using a text input helper to create his meal plans, and then it looks like he uses a conditional card to work out which day it is, and then a schedule to sort of clear the day and then move on to the next day. So yeah, really, that's cool. Really good work on that. And then he's got his room controls over there. So he says that tapping the light will obviously control the light, and then if you double tap on the room, it will take you into the room view for where you get more information and get more details and more controls. So that's a nice way of transitioning between a more basic to a more detailed view for each room. Nice job. And then he uses a column for each room, which is actually a really nice way to do it, and it means you can kind of get more on one screen without having to go back and forth. So he's got his kitchen, living room, study, and then he's got like kind of all the main controls and all of the information that you would need. So temperature, humidity, and then he's got his climate as well as lights and blinds and stuff like that. So yeah, this is really clean, really nice layout. I actually do appreciate the layout, and it works well, at least in my head. I'm gonna give you an 8.9 out of 10, really clean dashboard. And now we have Sacheen's dashboard. Hopefully I'm pronouncing your name right. This is another dark mode minimalist or mushroom inspired mobile dashboard. Very consistent, so well done. And then the other thing is that he has a tablet dashboard which has a 3D view of his house. You can tell there's been a lot of effort put into this sort of bird's eye view of his house, and he's sort of drawn out all of the rooms, and he's got his UI elements laid on top. The thing I like about this is there's not too many UI elements going on, just the main controls that you would actually need, but it's not like overpowering with different devices. And I like how when a light is on, it actually turns on the lights in different locations on the map. The only thing I will say, and the only complaint I can really give here, is this yellow is incredibly overpowering. It's like this needs to be faded out a little bit, so it's very harsh. So I would maybe lower the opacity on that and make the area a little bit wider, so it kind of like fades in. This is a little bit more seamless. This yellow is extremely overpowering and in your face, and equally these like spotlights that are just super on one area. I think they could be bigger but also faded in more, and that'll look a lot nicer. And it looks like he just scrolls down to get to the different views. So here's his, it looks like the first floor and then top floor of his house. Yeah, really well done this, and I like all the little details, like all the pillowcases, and then he's got his computer plugged in over here, and it's got the screen on, and yeah, it's just super nice. It's just like little things like that really add up. Again, this yellow is really overpowering. I would tone that down and just make it a little bit nicer. And then the only other thing I would add is instead of swiping up and down to get to the different views, I would have like some buttons over here that are just like for each floor, and you just press them and it'll take you to the floor. That's the only thing I would change personally. Really well done on this. You can tell you put in a lot of effort on both your mobile dashboard and your tablet dashboard. So I'm gonna say this is an 8.5 out of 10. And now we have a mobile based dashboard from Kay, and it looks like Kay is making heavy use of some of the stock Lovelace elements along with some custom button cards, it looks like. So yeah, this is a dark theme for mobile, and I like that he uses or makes use of a lot of image elements throughout this dashboard, as you'll see. And I like how this image up at the top presumably changes based on the weather. So it looks like it's frosty just now, which it gives you a frosty background. I like that. That's a nice little touch. He's also got quite a lot of chips up at the top. Weather, some buttons, and then the temperatures and humidities. Pretty cool. And then he also makes use of these image cards throughout his dashboard. So you can see he's got pictures of the rooms in his house, but he's also added some scene buttons over on the left here, which is useful for quickly controlling different scenes in the room. Really nice. And then he's also got the light slider up at the top for the percentage of light in the room. Really nice. And then he's got the light or the toggle controls over on the right hand side. And you'll notice that if I switch between the views, when he toggles a scene, it actually changes the image that's on screen and sort of lights up the images in different ways. Really cool. I like that sort of thing. So I guess that's using like a conditional card to change the image based on which scene is active. So that's cool. And then he's got kind of a media page or a remote control or media controls over on the next page. And then he makes heavy use of images throughout the dashboard. So for his laptop, his server, and his NAS, as well as that looks like a router down at the bottom. So yeah, it just kind of brightens up the dashboard and kind of makes it a little bit less bland and minimalist. If you aren't too into the extreme minimalist look like I am, checks out for his fridges, washing machines, dryers, that sort of thing, radiators. This page is kind of a little bit too much for me. Again, you've got like temperature, humidity, all this information down at the bottom. Then you've also got graphs, you've got the image, you've also got the slider over here, and then more information up the top. Is kind of just a little bit too busy, not too bad, but just a little bit too much information on there for me personally. That is the only complaint I could really make. It looks like he monitors his plants, which is pretty cool. He's got information about light levels and humidity, that sort of thing. So yeah, that's cool. And then cameras and also his information about his car and the price of diesel. Yeah, really nice job. The only thing I will say is that it doesn't look like you have a good way to sort of navigate back and forth between the pages other than the tap bar up at the top. I can see these are changing, but it looks like that's the only control, which given that this is a mobile dashboard, you'd have to reach up at the top, which if you're one-handed might be a little bit difficult. So the only thing I can really suggest there is to try and look into having a tap bar down at the bottom so they're a lot easier to reach. That's the only criticism I can really give. And yeah, pretty good job. I'm gonna give this an 8.1 out of 10. Okay, and last up we have Terry's mobile dashboard. So again, this is another mushroom dashboard. There is a lot of mushroom dashboards. He said he based this on my mushroom guide, which is really cool. So up at the top, he's got his chips and he's got his people, his welcome message, and then navigation. I personally prefer the welcome message higher and then the people down lower, just personal preference there. I do like how he's got his lights and it shows, I guess, how many lights are on in that room. So 1, and then he's got his room-based navigation. Again, I would personally prefer that these were in alphabetical order. And I would also have some consistency between the UI elements. So some rooms have got temperature, some have got like controls, and then some have got nothing. So I prefer to have at least something or nothing on all of them just to make things consistent. So a temperature on every room would be nice. Really nicely laid out. Everything is perfectly aligned again. And then this is his room-based view. So he's got his controls for different things, media player. He's got Dobby, nice. And then up at the top, he's got his chip. So it looks like he's got scene controls over here as well as a back button. Personally, I'd prefer the back button on the left rather than on the right, just because it's more familiar to have it on the left. I feel like a lot of apps always have them on the left, but personal preference. And then the thing I really like about this is this page. So what this does is he says that when their son goes to bed for the night, he actually goes onto Home Assistant and then he picks an audiobook and then it starts playing that audiobook on their Alexa speaker in their son's room while he's going off to sleep. And that is a really nice touch. It kind of is a way to get your family using a Home Assistant and getting into smart home and kind of playing around with it, and it's kind of a nice little addition and adds a little bit of fun. So I love that. Yeah, really well done dashboard. No controversial things in here at all. Just a classic mushroom design. And yeah, I'm gonna give you an 8.5 out of 10 just for the ingenuity of the audiobooks. I really like that. Okay, next up we have a dashboard from Zack, and this one's a little bit different because he's actually submitted 3 different dashboards. He's been using Home Assistant for 2 or 3 years only, and he's had a different dashboard for every year, which is pretty cool. So this is his 2021 dashboard, he's got his 2022 dashboard, and then his 2023 dashboard. These kind of give me like a 90s sort of vibe, just with these like big buttons up at the top, the red and green. And then these fans down here, these are kind of, I don't know, they just give me like 90s vibes along with these like sliders. I will say that his 2022 dashboard looks more modern to me than the 2023 dashboard, which is interesting. Maybe that's what he's going for. Again, these look like super retro icons along with that font for some reason. It just reminds me of the 90s. Yeah, good job if you've only been using Home Assistant for a couple of years. You've certainly put a lot of effort into these dashboards and they're pretty unique. I've never really seen other dashboards that are like this with this amount of work put into them, so good job there. He's also got some tablet dashboards for it looks like his pool. So he's got the pool controls over here, which is pretty cool. You're monitoring your pool with the chlorine and the pH, nice. Along with sort of weather and lights and that sort of thing. So you can see that this has had a lot of work put into it. So yeah, really good job there. Again, for me personally, I would want something a little bit more modern. This is kind of like, it would have like a nostalgia factor for like a day or two. And I would think it was pretty cool. But for something I was going to daily drive, I'd want something more modern. But if this is the look you're going for, and this is the look you like, then that is really, really well done. So yeah, I'll give this a 7.6 out of 10. Again, for me, it's a little bit retro, which I think would be cool for a day or two, but I would want something more modern, but really good job. Yeah, keep going with Home Assistant. So there is some more really cool smart home dashboards that we just took a look at. I love seeing all of the different designs and just how much ingenuity there is out there and how many unique dashboards there are out there. You guys have some really good talent in creating dashboards. Again, if you want to submit your own dashboard and you would like to see future episodes of this type of video, do let me know down in the comments, and I'll leave the email address that you can send your dashboard to down in the description. Also, if you want to send in your dashboard for the next episode, please make sure and include lots of information about how you did things and how it works, as well as screenshots and even screen capture if you would like to. Yeah, thank you so much for submitting all of your dashboards. This is really cool to see, and I love doing this type of thing. I love interacting with you guys in this way. It's yeah, it's really cool for you to send me your stuff and for me to have a look at. And there is so much talent out there. It's really cool to see. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video and you got some inspiration and ideas for your own dashboard. Thank you so much for watching this video. Please make sure to drop this video a like and get subscribed if you haven't already. And I will see you in the next video.